How it is, bro? It's the Bareback Barbarians podcast up in this piece doing what we do. It's the Bareback Barbarians podcast up in this piece doing what we do.
What's going on, guys? It's Mo Genie, baby. So, we had Champions League. We had the Champions League yesterday. Unfortunately, Liverpool lost to Napoli off some Fugazi bullshit. Alright? That penalty was not a penalty. That was a dive. But I'm going to get into that. Game ended 2-0 to Napoli. Champions League. There's a lot to talk about in the Champions League. Gonna talk about that game. Gonna talk about the Chelsea game. Gonna talk about the Borussia Dortmund Barcelona game, and how shit the refereeing is for some reason in the Champions League. What's the point of VAR? Alright? So many controversial things happened in the Champions League yesterday. I don't get it, and this won't be the last. Liverpool game, let's get back to that. Game was good. Majority of the time, Liverpool had bare possession, that was dealing with everything. First half did their business, put in work, and Liverpool should have scored. There was a chance that Milner had. There was a chance that Mane had. Him and Salah were 2 versus 1 going against the keeper. And Mane puts too much weight on the pass. Salah couldn't reach it and completely blows it. You could obviously tell Mane was in two minds at that moment. He didn't know whether to shoot or whether to pass. And I bet you what also was in his mind was him yelling at Salah 2 weeks ago in the Burnley game for not passing. So he got caught in two minds because that pass was easy. All he had to do was just slide through it right in for Salah. Easy tap in for him, and he completely messes that up. Salah had another chance, and Napoli's keeper made a world-class save. On the other spectrum, Napoli had a great chance at the back post, and Adrian, our backup goalkeeper for Liverpool, makes a world-class save. So both goalkeepers came out of the pockets yesterday with some amazing saves. Second half, Liverpool really dominated possession for majority of the time. We're attacking wave after wave after wave, and shit just was not coming off. Firmino's amazing play at the Newcastle game just completely did not show up in this game. All the boys had an off day, and it's because they just had a game on Saturday. It's not enough recovery time. Had they played on Wednesday, which is today, I think we probably would have had a better chance of winning because that would have been an extra day to recover. But these guys just played on Saturday and then have to immediately fly to Italy and have a game on Tuesday in the Champions League. You know what I mean? They're probably tired. And Klopp doesn't like to rotate too much when it comes to the back line or the front three. So, you know, he wanted to rest Firmino in the Newcastle game and play him against Napoli. But Origi got injured, and we ended up having to start Firmino that game. He did his business for us. We got the win, but he was tired in the Champions League. You could obviously see it. And in the second half, majority of the game, the referee was garbage. Napoli were flopping around on the floor the whole game, doing Olympic class, freestyle diving, any chance they got, and conned the referee, and the referee was falling for it. You know what I mean? I know Italy, they're known for that shit. They're in La Liga too, diving around a lot. Premier League players don't do that crap. It's very rare. But they were diving around the majority of the game, and then out of nowhere, Robertson somehow missed the kick somehow. His leg is dangled out, and the Napoli player intentionally runs into his leg and then does a somersault dive, and the referee gives a bullshit penalty. It wasn't a penalty. No way that was a penalty. The softest pen you're ever going to see. If a player runs into a guy's leg, how can that be a penalty? You know what I mean? It's not like Robertson stuck his leg out and tripped the guy while he was running already. No, this guy, the Napoli player, ran into his leg to intentionally get the penalty, and the referee fell for it. So I'm thinking VAR is going to come into play, and finally we're going to see VAR rectify a bad penalty call. Nope, not even close. It hasn't happened all season. I have not seen, to this day, seen VAR say no penalty on a ref called penalty on the pitch. I guess if a ref calls a penalty on the pitch, the VAR people just won't overturn it. I don't know what it is. They need to do what the Americans do in the NFL, where if a penalty is given against you, the opposing team that got the penalty done on them can challenge. The coach can throw a red flag, just like in the NFL, and challenge the call. And then they go to the booth, and the referees all look at replays of the penalty. And if it is a penalty, it stands. If it isn't a penalty, they chalk it off and say no penalty. They should do it because what's the point of VAR then? The VAR, they don't replay anything. In the Newcastle game, Matip got pulled down on a corner, and it was an obvious penalty, but there was no VAR to review that. They should do it just like the Americans. If you're going to do replaying, you should allow the coaches to call over the referee and say, I want to challenge that. I want to challenge that penalty, and I want you to review it again. And if a penalty is not given, the coach can also say, I challenge that. I want that play to be challenged and see if it's a penalty or not. That's exactly how they should do it, just like in America with instant replay. This referee was giving Napoli every call he could give them. They were flopping all over the floor. So the penalty happens. Adrian gets a hand to it, but not strong enough, and the goal goes in. Boom, that's it. Because Liverpool start chasing the game. They start flooding more attackers up front. And somehow, some way, Van Dijk tries to pass the ball back to Adrian, but it doesn't get there. Robertson could have stopped it. He stopped running, and the Napoli player got on it and put the goal in, and it was 2-0, and that was it. And you got rival fans, busting a nut because Van Dijk committed his first error in 18 months. You know what? Screw you. All right? If you're that desperate to look for a fault in Van Dijk, you're a clown. This guy is the best defender in the world. He's going to have errors. Just like Koulibaly did last year when Salah put the ball right past his ass and scored, and the rest is history. We beat Napoli to qualify for the round of 16 knockout stages and went on to win the Champions League. All right? And that was all because Koulibaly didn't do his job. It happens to the best of them. All right? So that was one refereeing decision that ruined the game. Before I jump to the Dortmund Borussia game, Borussia Dortmund Barcelona game, Chelsea played against Valencia and they lost 1-0. They got a penalty themselves. And who's there to step up? Usually I always thought Jorginho was the penalty taker for Chelsea. But Ross Barkley steps up. And right before the penalty's taken, Tammy Abraham tried to take the ball from him. Jorginho tried to take the ball from him. Even Willian tried to take the ball from him. All of them tried to take the pen, but Barkley just took it off all of them. And guess what happened? Boom, he hit the bar. Ball goes over, and he misses the pen. And Valencia win the game 1-0. See, I have a theory that if players of your own team are fighting over the pen against you, and then you finally take the pen, you're going to miss it. You know why? Because your head is already so screwed up from having the argument with your own players about who's going to take the pen, that by the time you take the pen, your head's not even concentrated on the penalty. So that's what I think happened. You got Chelsea fans going bonkers right now on social media. And I guarantee you, if he was a black guy, Chelsea fans would be caught again doing racist shit, just like they've been caught for the last 2 years now doing racist stuff like they did to Sterling. Even recently, they've been doing racist stuff to their own player, Tammy Abraham, on social media. We don't know if these are random, jealous fans doing it or if it's Chelsea fans, but from all accounts, it's real, legit Chelsea fans doing this. So, people are going bonkers on Barkley for missing that pen. Chelsea fans are for missing that pen. That's that game. In another round of a bad decision made in the Borussia Dortmund-Barcelona game, the Barcelona Borussia are given a penalty, and the Barcelona goalkeeper comes off his line early and stops the penalty from going in. Now, all over ESPN FC and all the newspapers, people are saying, should the referee have redone that penalty? And by all accounts, yes. If that happened in the Premier League, they would have immediately stopped it and retook that penalty. I don't know what the criteria is in the Champions League, but where is VAR? Again, where is VAR? They're supposed to review these things. They say that they review every goal, but they're not reviewing what happens before the goal. Say, in the Liverpool Napoli game, the how the penalty was actually given, it was a dive. They didn't review that. And now in the Borussia Barcelona game, the goalkeeper comes early off his line, which is illegal, and he got a hand extension because of jumping off the line early and stopped the penalty. That was illegal. It should have been retaken, and Borussia should have got that. Instead, they didn't. Que sera, sera. So basically, Liverpool loses their first game of the Champions League. They're still undefeated in the Premier League. Rival fans are going bananas over this, which is ridiculous. But hey, let them have it. That shows how good we are. The boys had an early turnaround. That's what I know. It was because of having the game on Saturday and then having to play the Tuesday Champions League game instead of having the extra day off and having the Wednesday Champions League game. Either way, Liverpool are comfortably going to come out of that group. It's only them and Napoli. It doesn't even matter if we're top of the group, even though I'm pretty sure we're going to end up being top of the group. Salzburg beat Genk, so Genk is at the bottom too. So I'm not worried about this group at all. It's the first game of Champions League, but Liverpool are more focused on the Prem this year. We're going to stay focused on the Prem, and that's how it is, man. This is the Daily Shakedown, doing it again for the Champions League results, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Yeah, you know who it is, Don Tony Teflon, Mo Genie Languine. You know how we do. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Bareback Barbarian podcast. Peace and stay sexy.